Alright YouTube, we are going to try for one of the last two things I need for the Forgotten, although we'll mostly be spending the episode talking about Friday the 13th because I spent Christmas doing exactly what I said I was going to do, which is watching the Friday the 13th movies, so I want to talk about 3 of them, and we're hopefully going to be playing the video game afterwards. We've played it before, or I've played it before. Most of the people who join me have not, but we'll aim for the corpse because I don't want to focus on Mega Satan really. If I sound a little bit congested, that's because I am. I went for my COVID booster yesterday. My nose is running, I'm feeling a bit stuffed up, got a sore arm and I'm very tired, but otherwise fine. And I highly encourage you to get your booster if you haven't and it's available to you. What is the button, before I go on blathering, to change into Ghost Man? Oh, I found it, okay. Because I'll probably need that. So I only really have one story from actually going to go get the booster vaccine to get triple vaxxed. Vaxxed? No, that's banning on Steam.
Did you
You're
see
getting
that,
yours
sir?
on Thursday. Thank you, So Worthy, for using your Twitch Prime. I appreciate it. I already went the wrong way. Do not be expecting high quality play, both because I'm feeling a little bit under and also because I have things to yammer about. But I got there. And my appointment was 8:30 in the morning, which was fine by me. Not so much getting hit by those though. When I got there, there was 3 or 4 people ahead of me, a lady, a couple who were clearly together, and maybe one other person, I'm not sure. And they were just kind of milling around, and the nurses there were like, yeah, we're still setting up, because this is like the day after Boxing Day, so they were a little haphazard, let's say. And eventually they were like, okay, people are going to start coming in, we need to form a queue. So they're like, form a queue, people. And I was already leaning against the wall that they decided the queue should be against. But, being polite, I was like, okay, these people were here first, I'll back up, because I have my place in line. But, for whatever reason, only one, like the lady who was by herself, decided, yeah, I was here first, so I'm going in front of you. For whatever reason, the other folk, they all just filed in behind me, even though I backed up. So I was the second person seen, boom, done, and straight back out. All I really felt on the first day was just like sore arm, and like in, let's say like about 12 or 1, definitely started feeling very tired for the rest of the day. And that has persisted to today as well. And as for the evening now, I'm definitely very congested and sniffy and runny nosy. Ugh, like that. Ugh, I apologise. This is just normal Forgotten. Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah, I'm expecting to basically just have a couple of days of feeling a bit rough. It's fine. It's worth it compared to the alternative. Although, like, obviously it affects people in different ways. Like my mum was saying, like, she's heard of some people getting a worse effect from the booster than they did one of the other 2 jabs. Obviously, most people seem to be totally fine with it. My sister just got her second jag because she couldn't get any while she was pregnant. And apparently the second Pfizer hit her really badly for whatever reason. Whereas for me, the second one was like a day or 2 feeling rough again and then fine. So it's weird like that. Oh yeah, and I thought I was going to get offered the flu jab as well, and there was some mention of it on the appointment. Didn't get offered it, and I was like, I don't really want to get 2 jags on the one day. They might both beat me up, so I'm not going to bother pushing it. I'll take the COVID booster and go. Oh, I should not have taken that. Why would you pick that up as him? Because you're not paying attention, that's why. Shut up, inner me. Yeah, my mother got them on this, well no, she got them one day apart and like, she was fine. But she got lucky, I think. I would not want the 2 on the same day, or even within the same, like, week. I would say, oh, is that a text message? Just checking in case it's from my mother. Nope, it's Atomic Mass Games. Oh, advertising the shield miniatures for Crisis Protocol that we know is already coming thanks to spoilers. Neat. No pictures of them, incidentally. Just the shield logo. Inner you is a little bitch. I keep on leaving problems for future me to deal with, but then future me becomes present me and then still leaves it to future me, and then that just creates all sorts of problems. That is suplex. That's interesting. I don't think it's good. Well, no, it's awesome, but I don't think it's useful. We've only had it in greed mode, I think, and it was very rough. Did they just retweet again? No, that's Crispy bloody tweeting my go live message. Suplex! Suplex! Okay, that was pretty cool. It did like half her health. But I got hit right afterwards because it dropped her on me. Hello Crispy, would you be able to... Son of a... Why didn't I just go get the heart? Would you be able to join us for Friday the 13th after this? Well, and by after this, I mean like in an hour probably, or maybe an hour and a half. No. Alright, just checking. So, on Christmas, after my Christmas Day stream that ended in the early or mid-afternoon, I did indeed do exactly what I said I would. I had some miniatures to assemble. I posted a picture. I put together 2 very large minis, which kind of makes a mockery of the word mini, but whatever. And while I was doing so, I watched 3 of the Friday the 13th movies, because I bought the box set of 1 to 8. I skipped 1 because I've seen it fairly recently. I saw it for the first time, must have been 2.5 years ago. It was the Halloween following the year I moved into this house. Because I remember specifically because it was a supermarket doing a deal on, like, get 2 DVDs of classic horror movies for £3 or something stupid like that. So I got Friday the 13th Part 1 and the made-for-TV It movie with Tim Curry. Which is the better of the 2, incidentally. The first Friday the 13th movie isn't very good. But that's fine. It's mostly noteworthy because Kevin Bacon is in it before he became a like well-known guy. And has probably the most gruesome death in it. He's lying in a bed and a spear or an arrow gets poked up through the bottom of the bed and you see it come right up through his throat. It's kind of disgusting and impractical when you find out that Jason's mother is the killer, because she would not have had the strength to do that, but whatever. And people from chat join this. It's I want to play a decent game, and for a decent game we need a full amount of counsellors for Jason to be murdering. So it will be open to anyone because it will be the in-game communication, which means local to people who are around you, including Jason. Or if you find a walkie-talkie, you can speak to everyone who has walkie-talkies. So I started with Friday the 13th Part 2, which is the first one to actually have Jason as the killer. Which makes no sense because he's supposed to be dead, although he shows up in the end of credit jump scare. Or sorry, not end of credit, end of movie jump scare in the first one. Like, oh, he's still alive and in the water, and he grabs the sole survivor. But then they retcon that immediately in the start of the second one, where it's like, no, she didn't get grabbed, she's actually fine. But she knows that Jason's alive, and now she's waiting for the day that he comes to kill her, and that's exactly what he does in the opening of the film. There's a lot of similar, they have no plot. There's literally no plot. It's just Jason is around and kills people. That's the only plot to all of them. There's also a lot of similarities, like they always have a thunderstorm, a rainy thunderstorm, as part of the finale. A lot of broken glass. The horny teenagers always die, and the final girl always wins. That's the gist of it. The second one does have the most nudity, which is part of what I want to talk about. Not because it's nudity, but I was very surprised that the second movie is, so far, and I don't think the later movies had more nudity, it has full frontal female nudity, and not a little bit, but quite a lot. Whereas the rest of them just have boobs. But yeah, it's like full frontal nudity, and it's part of the scene I wanted to talk about because it's the most infuriated I've been at a movie in quite some time. Because characters in horror movies have to be like dumb as pig shit. They just have to be so stupid to make the story happen. But this character is so stupid that I got so angry I stopped paying attention to the movie. Because this is the classic like slutty lady. Oh, that's handy. And first of all, she's doing a jog with the rest of the counsellors. She's got a dog, got a little cute dog, and the dog runs off on its own. You see a POV shot of it pulling up to presumably Jason's feet, because you only ever see Jason's feet and hands for like 90% of the movie. And then the dog is gone, and then cuts back to the counsellors. They want to go back to the hut. So she's like, whatever the dog's name is, she's calling for the dog. Nothing. Calls for the dog again. Nothing. And then she just shrugs and walks off. No dog owner ever, upon learning that their dog is missing, would shrug and walk off. What was I doing again? I was supposed to be doing the corpse. Shit. We'll just try for Megasane and just enjoy the run. I've got stuff to talk about. I forgot it was the corpse. I thought I was thinking the beast. But that's not the end of it. That's just the start. Her dog goes missing. She calls for it a couple of times and then it's like, screw it. And it implies the dog is dead. Then later, two horny teenagers who go off to Camp Crystal Lake when they're told not to. Oh, thank you, Madam Nees, for the raid. I'm talking about Friday the 13th Part 2. For context of what I'm about to talk about. They go off and then there's like, oh, that's another connection. The movies always are littered with fake jump scares. Where it's like not Jason, it's just something to scare the audience. But they find a mangled up corpse of a dog. And they say, oh, it looks like an animal, what happened to it? The implication is Jason killed the dog. Whatever. They don't tell... Well, yeah, they get a jump scare where it's like, oh, is it Jason? No, it's a police officer telling them not to be there. They don't tell the lady that they found a dead dog when she's lost her dog. They don't mention it, they never communicate. Which again, okay, maybe they're just stupid, that's fine. But then, the lady starts to get concerned about her dog. So she decides that the best time to go looking for it is the middle of the night in a rainstorm. Actually no, I don't think it's raining at that point. So she goes out by herself in the middle of the night and starts calling for her dog. Upon not finding the dog, she immediately strips fully naked, and this is where the full frontal nudity is, and she goes skinny dipping for no reason. And then there's a fake out jump scare again where you see somebody steal her clothes, but it turns out it's a guy who likes her. And then they kind of subvert your expectation because you think, oh well, she's probably going to die because they separate, but Jason has laid a trap like a snare and hangs the guy from the tree, so she runs back to the house to get scissors or a knife to cut him down, and while she's gone, Jason kills the guy. And then I think she goes back with scissors, realises he's dead, and then also dies. You think that's it? Because like that's the end of the dog story? No, no, no. You see, cut to the end of the movie, the sole survivor girl and the guy, or a guy, survive. They fight Jason in his cabin. They use mind games to defeat him because she dresses up as his mother and talks to him as his mother. They survive, they go back, only them alive, no one else. And then they hear someone approaching the cabin and they're like, oh crap, Jason's actually still alive. We thought we killed him in the cabin, but we didn't. So he stands by the door with like a poker or something, and she's with a baseball bat, a chair. And then they're waiting, they hear something approaching, he swings open the door, and the dog comes in. The dog is in fact not dead. Somehow. Oh, please tell me I can suplex you. I can, that's fantastic. So the dog is actually alive, apparently. And then Jason jumps through the window behind the girl and grabs her, and then she screams. And then it fades out to the next morning where the girl is perfectly fine in a stretcher being carried off, but the guy is apparently dead. Which makes no sense in any way, shape or form. But mostly it was the lady not caring about her dog that got me. It's like, that is... I can suspend disbelief for characters to be doing stupid stuff so they can go and get murdered by Jason, but I will never believe that a dog owner would do that. I want to suplex, but I'm saving my health because I'm getting murderized. Get suplexed. Number 2 does have like the guy in the wheelchair who's like super strong, yeah. His death was also annoying because the camera angle from the front of him when Jason is approaching clearly shows that Jason is not behind him. And then you get the killer POV and it's like directly behind him. It makes no sense. The first time you see Jason is honestly at least halfway through the movie when a policeman is driving away from the camp and Jason in his bag head runs across the road in front of him. And then for no reason the cop gets out and chases him at full speed even though he has no idea who he is. Just so he can find the shack and get murdered. So the audience knows that the final girl is running their lair. It's very strange. It was amusingly bad. Like all of the movies so far have been amusingly bad. Except one. One is just boring. And then 3... 3 is like literally the same day, or the next day as 2. So Jason is like unmasked and just kind of running around, and then he spends 90% of the film hanging around a barn and killing anyone who comes over to the barn for some reason. It's also the one which was originally made in 3D, so there's a lot of shots in the film that are just designed to show off like early 3D. Like people poking stuff into the camera and like Jason's machete, because he has a machete in that one, getting poked into the camera. But the most annoying thing about 3 is the convoluted reasons the movie finds for the kids to one by one go into this barn and get killed. But without fail it's the first one that's the worst, which is a biker gang going to the camp to get revenge on a guy who they picked on. And then while they're stealing gas, the lady of the group named Foxy, or Fox, because she's in the video game, looks over while her friends are doing this. She sees the creepy looking barn and is like, yeah, I could probably examine that. That seems like something I should look at. So she wanders over to it, and then she does what every other character who goes in it in the movie does, which is as soon as they go in, they close the door behind them. The barn door. I know the real reason they do this. The real reason they do this is to hide the fact that they have an exterior shot of the building and then they have a set for the inside. But within the movie logic, it's infuriating seeing them like lock the door behind them. Not lock the door, sorry, close the door. So yeah, the 3 is literally just Jason hanging around the barn. People find stupid reasons to go in, and then he just kills them, and that's it. And then the final girl fights him in the barn at the end, hangs him by his neck, which for some reason does not kill him, and then she stabs him in the head with an axe, and that takes him out. Although then, again, it ends with another dream sequence where he's actually fine and kind of waves at her, which is kind of weird. Again, kind of fun, very stupid. I don't get that reference. Is that a LOL reference? I'll go find item room. Actually, I'll check the shop as well. Actually, I'm trying to think if there's anything else of note about 3 before I move on to talking about 4. Oh yeah, 3 is the one where he gets his iconic hockey mask from the saddest character ever. It's a slightly chubby man. I wouldn't even say he's fat, he's just slightly chubby. And everybody makes fun of him as if he's like really, really fat, and it's just cruel. And he plays practical jokes where he pretends to be dead, and there's a surprisingly sad moment where the girl he likes, he's talking to her. And he says the only reason he acts out is because it's the only way people pay any attention to him, because they just act like he's not there. And then he gets his throat slit by Jason and he tries to get help from one of the other people there, and they think he's playing a joke, so they ignore him and let him bleed out. And then realise after the fact that he's actually dead. And he had the hockey mask when he died because he was playing like a prank on the girl he liked. So I think he's in the game as well. So that's how Jason got his hockey mask. He just took a liking to it because for the rest of 3 he didn't have a mask because he lost it. He lost his bag in 2. Well, thank you, Lord Saigon, for 57 months with a tier 1 sub. Oh yeah, that's another thing. In high definition DVD, you can see all the like fish lines that everything is on when they get thrown, which makes it funnier. Like when Jason fires a harpoon at the screen because it's in 3D to hit a lady in the eye, you can see the fishing line. Damn it. It's endearing because, like, on low definition TV or like cinema screens, you wouldn't be able to tell. But these days, you can. I want to start talking about 4 immediately, but talking so much is hurting my voice. Four is the one that people consider the good one, and I would agree. I think it probably is the best one. Which is the one that kind of rounds off Jason's story, even though there were 6 more movies after that. It does also feature the hilarious moment where the dog, who I think is called Gordon, which is also a fun name for a dog. Son of a... Where he realizes Jason is in the house, so he just nopes out of the house and the movie by jumping out of a 2nd floor window. And he's a golden retriever, so he's not a small dog, but he just nopes out and is never seen again. Like, I've had quite enough of that. Oh yeah, I forgot he could do that to open chests. At range, anyway. No, I wanted the heart. Oh, I got it. Oh, and the game decided to pause itself. 4 also has a relative of like a previously murdered victim, and he and the final girl. Oh, and there's a final like little kid who ends up killing Jason. Called Tommy. What's Tommy's surname? He can appear in the game. Tommy. Damn it, I'm blanking on it. What is his name? He's played by Corey Feldman. Tommy Jarvis, that's the one. But yeah, the final girl and like the lead who wants revenge on Jason. He goes into the basement and Jason is hiding in there and... No. Jason attacks him. And he's literally screaming at her, "Oh my god, he's killing me, run, run." He's literally saying these words. This is not me paraphrasing. He shouts over and over, "He's killing me, run." And she watches. She watches for an uncomfortable amount of time as her potential love interest is murdered and says he is being murdered. But that's not even the worst of it. The worst of it is she runs out the house, and I think I was face palming at the time, so I didn't see why. Like literally face palming, but she goes back. She goes back like, yeah, maybe he actually took Jason out. I'm gonna go check. So she goes back and then like gets a scare because Jason's hiding under the stairs. It's so stupid. She had no right surviving. But then she and her little brother, Tommy Jarvis, team up and they mind games Jason a little bit and then they murder him by pushing his face down his machete. And I had seen part 5 before because after I watched part 1 I looked for more and part 5 was the only one on Netflix. Part 5 is not very good. It's also not Jason, it's a copycat killer. And the movie tries way too hard to make you think that Tommy Jarvis is the killer because he's like catatonic for the whole thing. But it's just a copycat killer. and is pretty bad. And I rewatched it before the stream today. Bad in a good way though. I quite enjoyed it. It features comically bad stereotypes and absolutely terrible dialogue. Like the "oh no, those enchiladas" man, who eats some enchiladas and then gets diarrhea, and his girlfriend thinks it's a good idea to sing to him while he's having diarrhea, and then they both get killed by the copycat killer. Isn't the one where the Jason actor is a total badass taking all the hits standing? Jason is played by a different actor in every single one until part 6, I believe, which is when Kane Hodder took over. He's also the man who did the motion capture for the video game. He was sadly, like, he's the one who gave Jason his iconic kind of walk and look, and he's in all the worst ones. Including Jason X, although Jason X is good or bad in a good way. Get suplexed. I lived, bitch. The scene where he gets dropped down the stairs. Are you thinking of part 6, which I haven't watched yet or seen, but I know he fights Carrie? Like there's a lady, this is true. There's a lady with psychic powers in part 6. Because part 6 is also the part where Jason becomes supernatural. He's a literal zombie. Because he gets brought back from the dead. Because he really dies in 4. He is killed by Tommy. And then Tommy goes a little bit insane. But then he wants to dig up his corpse or something and it gets hit by lightning. And for some reason that brings Jason back to life. Yeah, I'm not joking. I mean, I haven't watched it. I just know that's a thing that happened. I mean, they did a movie where he fought Freddy Krueger, so it's not that ridiculous. But yeah, next Monday, I'm going to watch 6, 7, and 8 back to back. So, son of a, this run's going to end soon. So expect a recap on those soon. I'm looking forward to it, honestly. I thoroughly enjoyed watching them. Not that run so much. In fact, do I want to do another run in the same video and we'll just do one long video instead of a couple of short ones? Yeah, why not? Go to the correct route this time. In 7 he does sort of go to Manhattan, yes. Somehow. And then in Jason X, oh, you again. In Jason X, which is the only one I'd seen prior to 3 years ago, he goes to space and becomes a cybernetic man. And is pure, absolute nonsense, but in a good way. Jason X was the first Friday the 13th film I'd ever seen. I had no context for anything, and I still thoroughly enjoyed it. And remember scenes from it to this day, despite only having watched it once when I was a kid. Because it came out in, 2002-ish? After the millennium, but not long after. Space Jason Spacian. Masterpiece is there is entertainment in watching laughably bad content. Where you're laughing at someone's earnest attempt to create something good. And that doesn't devalue it, that has value. The Room is a terrible movie, but it's worth watching because of how bad it is. Well, I would say it's more... I would say you could skip watching it, watch a highlight thing, and then just read the book. Disaster Artist. The book is very good. Go to the alt floor. I remembered. Almost didn't. But the Jason movies are also the terrible name convention, because I think he was quote unquote drowned on Friday the 13th, which is why the first one is called Friday the 13th. Because that's the story. His mother goes crazy because the camp counselors let her son drown because they were busy having sex and they didn't care about him because he's immune, so he looks weird. Even though he's alive and becomes the killer, but whatever. In a blatant attempt to mimic the success of the first Halloween movie. You went to the cinema to watch Pixels? You gave Adam Sandler money? How embarrassing. I would not say Pixels is an example of a good bad movie. I would say it's just an example of a bad movie that you should watch for free to make fun of, if anything. Son of a... I also have recently rewatched the first Halloween movie and it is a masterpiece. The other ones, not so much. I watched 1 through 6. No, 1 through 5. I haven't seen 6. Can I hit him and make him bomb? No, you have to bomb him. Oh, I won't be doing that then. Oh wait, no, I could buy a bomb. Lost Compass is reading the bargaining. Feel free to spam SOR related emotes. What I might do after this run, because I think like Shills is on the fence about getting the game, is I could load up the game, but before we do a lobby, I'll do a quick challenge mode, which is the one where it's like got story and stuff, like loosely. Think a Hitman challenge map, and you've got basically what they added to the game, and then maybe play a bot match to show you how Jason plays. Didn't think you could get over that. I forgot how much this character sucks. Especially compared to the Tainted version. The Tainted version is fun. The Tainted version is just chuck the skull at all the enemies. To briefly talk about the game again. So yeah, I've seen the Friday the 13th movies, like, at the point where I played the game, like the beta of the game, I think I'd only seen Jason X, I think. I'm fairly sure. And yeah, I still enjoyed it. It was very rough and it had a lot of glitches. Not a good player base, and also they kind of got screwed by there was a legal dispute about who owned Friday the 13th, so the people that gave them the license to make the game, they couldn't do anything until the legal dispute was resolved. Which it is now, I presume. I don't really know anything about it. But having watched all the films, like I've been playing a few bot matches so I could get my level up so that we don't all just have the same Jason, since they're level locked. And now I'm spotting like things, like the people who made that game really love the movies and the source material. And I'm spotting all these things I never would have known about back when we played it, because again, I'd only seen Jason X. Oh, there's not even dedicated servers anymore? Oof. But I appreciate it more now because I get all the references. Well, most of the references. Like I finished watching part 5 before the stream, like I said, so I loaded up the game, loaded up the part 5 map. I'm like, oh my god, I knew how to navigate the biggest house in the map because I watched the movie. And I was like, oh, there's the thing that the little kid drives in to pretend Jason. Oh yeah, I want to talk about how terrible the ending to part 5 is. I totally forgot to mention that. So the whole movie, it wants you to think that Tommy Jarvis is Jason, that he's gone nuts, and he's the one killing people. He isn't. He helps take out the copycat killer. And then the end of the movie is him in a hospital bed. The surviving lady, she finishes talking to the cop. She goes into the room where Tommy is. And then she pulls the sheet back. He's got a machete in his hand. He stabs her. And then Tommy wakes up in his bed. Oh, it's a nightmare. Fine. It's a fake out. They like doing that. But then he sees Jason at the bottom of his bed, which he sees Jason a few times during the movie because he hallucinates. Except this time he doesn't get scared. He stares him down until Jason disappears. And you think, oh, this is showing that he's overcome his fear. And then he gets out of bed, looks in the top drawer of his bedside thing in the hospital, and for no apparent reason, the mask of the copycat Jason is in there. And then it cuts to the lady coming into the room again, except this time Tommy is wearing the mask with a machete and is hiding behind the door. He lunges at her and then it fades to black and displays the credits. And then he's just, well, he is slightly insane as I understand it in the next one, but he's not a murderer. It makes no sense on any level. Dumb, yes. They just wanted like a fake out followed by a potential real scare. Or maybe the people who made the movies just wanted to keep on making it harder and harder for the next person. Like, let's see you write them back in after seeing this. And they found a way, they turned him into a literal zombie. And then he became more of a mythical slasher as opposed to just an angry dude, although the anger definitely stays. He's a very angry man. Like, he and Michael Myers, they're very different and yet also the same. Because they're both silent, they both heavily breathe, they both stalk. More so Michael Myers than Jason stalks, but still. But the manner in which they kill is very different. This run ain't so good, Al. Local man too angry to stay dead, correct. The Forgotten do be looking kinda nice in these high heels. He suits them. I do remember the white fire being over here somewhere. I already have a ghost, why do I need to become a ghost? Oh, alright, you do still have changed form, okay. I should not have changed forms yet. I don't want to use the bone attacks because there's enemies that spit. But I'm limited at how far I can run away. It's okay, I had Holy Mantle, so I could have taken that hit. Told you. Really shows off his pelvic bone. Yeah, that's the other thing. Every movie has Jason being demasked and he never looks the same. It kinda looks similar from 2 to 3, but not a lot. And that's pre-turning into a zombie, so you can't blame decomposition. I was kinda thinking that a corpse win as the Forgotten would be relatively easy, but I was definitely thinking of Tainted Forgotten. This might take quite a few attempts. And being more focused than I currently am. Like, how many times have I used my spacebar? I am once. Once effectively. And then once against enemies it wouldn't hurt. Oop. I'm very curious what this would do for the bone, but it's probably nothing, right? Yeah, we'll check. Yeah. Oh well. It makes him look kinda cool. You've read the game tutorial? I'll give you a quick, showing how it works. Because it's the only way to be fair. I mean, who gets to play as Jason is random, and although I think you can set it to your preference to only ever be a counselor. And Jason is overpowered on purpose. Blah. Okay, I definitely am not in the headspace to do well as the Forgotten today.